Hello there everyone and welcome back. It's time to play with a little bit of the Space Marines, and I will be honest, I'm kind of tempted to do a double take of episodes for the Space Marines, since I do want to play around with the torpedo-centric 6 cruiser fleet, even though it feels like it's been forever since I played up against Space Marines. I kind of like the potential this fleet has here, although really, the most popular one that I recall seeing the most is the Heavy Lances. A lot of it due to its simplicity and the high critical hit chance that the Proud Lances have to offer, never mind how affordable these ships are, since even with 6 torpedo type cruisers I don't have the means to get a frigate in, whereas the Lance variant does allow that opportunity for a little more vision, and I don't need to tell you how important vision can be for certain matchups here. But that will be for another video. That will probably be for the next video. I am going to play around more with the battle barge because I absolutely love this ship. It kind of helps negate, well, similar to the tomb ship in a way on how imposing that ship could be, but this arguably is better just because it has the shields to kind of mitigate a lot of critical hits dealt to it. It also has some very niche possibilities with a supercharged void shield as well to help with its durability even further. And it has the higher G turn and more convenient means to maneuver the ship. Whereas Necrons have a one and done kind of like micro warp jump, inertialess drive jump. At least with the combustion gauge, you can use it to dodge Novacans, dodge torpedoes, kind of as a perfect example of my recent Necron video. So we're going to play around with that some more and see what happens. If we face off against more Tyranids, that could be a bit of a problem, since Space Marines do have arguably the best boarding in the game. They are limited by, especially with Battle Barge, just by how fragile their cruisers can be, and of course having less ships in comparison to Tyranids. So, we will see if that rivalry shows itself or not. Okay, this is going to be an interesting matchup. Now the big question is, what kind of fleet are they utilizing? Because if they're using Pulsars, Supercharged Void Shield can be decent here. Although, it's more than likely our opponent's probably going to be using the las cannons, the Star Cannon type of fleet, with the constant barrage of weapon fire. And I don't know how effective that could potentially be. Although, they will be incredibly limited in their vision, I'm going to assume anyway, since after all they kind of don't have really good light cruisers and frigates after all, so I want to believe that goes in my advantage some. And if I can get some decent early hits with Disruption Overcharge, that helps a ton. It's a question if I want the Kulexus Assassin or not, because the extra range can be helpful. It can be, but it's if I intimidate them enough to stay at range for longer periods of time. And Disruption Bomb is a great 1-2 punch there. Assuming I can hit them with that. And Stasis Bomb? There's a lot of things I want. The Supercharged Void Shield again can be useful here if they focus the Battle Barge down, give the extra durability. Disruption Bomb destroys their hollow field if I can catch them after they boost. But I don't think I'll have the easiest time utilizing it. Stasis Bomb, well, I don't really have lance weaponry or effective long-range weaponry to kind of take advantage of that. But I'm going to go with the assumption that they're just doing the traditional Phoenix type fleet. I'm going to go with that assumption. And it looks like there's not much of objectives we can grab either. At least more than one. So far, this looks like the correct assumption. At least, basically. I would like to destroy their engines, but generators might be more important. I'm really uncertain what I want to prioritize here. Since I don't have the Kulexus Assassin, destroying the deck's probably not all that worth it.
I am listening. At your command.
And let's see. I'm not seeing any fighters being launched, but I do want to see what these ships are. And they are boosting recklessly, which doesn't do me a lot of favors at the moment, but I could set up a Disruption Bomb pretty decently here. And I do have the extended range, so spotting them at a decent time might be helpful here.
Give us purpose.
Now it's just a question. Let's see, that's
The enemy has seized
likely a battle
strategic
cruiser, that's
area.
likely a Phoenix, so if this is just 3 regular cruisers here, I'm wondering what else do they have? Does that mean they have a light cruiser or frigate around somewhere that I'm not privy to?
Enemy in sight.
Because these are the las cannons.
Strike. Engines engaged.
I don't think that was good. I don't think that boring's gonna help so much, but it's an option at least.
We stand ready.
And that will force them to evade.
Engines engaged.
Let's get these guys going.
Strike quickly, brothers.
There, that scares them. Not much, because I did waste the disruption bomb to be fair, but...
Repositioning.
There.
Halt advance.
Now let's try
Give us purpose.
and go after this Phoenix here. Well, the cruisers are kind of isolated.
Show us the enemy. Underway. We stand ready.
I did lightning strike,
For where
but the
we
cult
are
arms
needed.
is pretty good there. The mark should have been expired by now.
Enemy in sight. Moving
And
to
I could just outrun these ships pretty well.
I am listening.
And that gives the battle barge time to get repositioned.
Show us the enemy. At your command.
It is a bad angle for me, I won't lie.
To engines.
But battle barge will be able to
The
take
enemy
these
has
hits in a
seized
moment.
strategic area.
We stand ready. Moving to position. I am listening. To where we are needed.
Ah, dang it. I did not consider they had torpedoes. That was a bit of a failing there, but we can board, we can cripple them. Yeah, sadly,
Stand ready.
I misplayed that terribly. I did not consider the fact that there were torpedoes there.
Show us the enemy. Teleport attack successful.
Well, let's see.
Rearm.
We could still get something done here, maybe. Because this one's almost crippled. Boarding on that one's pretty significant.
Boarding successful. Full power to engines.
And you just... No, you... Okay, you did fire torpedoes. We can dodge those decently.
Where shall we strike?
And the battle barge did make it out, if only just barely. Although it's not going to get his shields up in time, sadly.
Halt advance. Underway. Vessel destroyed.
Sadly, torpedoes did not connect.
Full speed.
As much as I would have liked it to.
Give us purpose. Hold course. We stand ready. Underway. Show us the enemy.
Okay, probably... Yeah, well, it's not going to mutiny anytime, so we gotta keep... Dang it! I had the frigate selected, so I was thinking of doing a scanner pulse there is what happened. So now I just left that to die a horrible death because of that bad miscontrol.
Give us purpose.
But we have Drifting Hulk there.
Moving to position.
I don't think I'm going to get the boarding I want, but...
Repositioning. Give us purpose.
It is going to get crippled, at least.
For where we are needed. Repositioning.
And I probably should have gone after the engines, because that would have helped a ton with crippling them.
Moving to position.
I misplayed that. There was one little poor consideration
Cannot be
that I did not
denied.
consider all that much.
I am listening.
In that I let them get too close for torpedoes and not really consider the torpedoes, and that's going to lose its crew, so you're out.
Underway. We stand ready.
Alright, engines are gone there. And if you did not repair, this should still cripple you quite heavily. And I can easily turn off any ship that they try and activate
For where we are needed.
with the Honor the Chapter effect.
It will be destroyed.
Nope, they have torpedoes. Ah, dang it.
I am listening.
That would have been really nice. That would have been really nice if they had no torpedoes, because then I would have been able to turn this off. I messed that up. That was one subtle thing I did not consider, was the torpedoes.
The enemy has accumulated 75%.
It was unfortunate. I was more worried about the pulsars and if they had the las cannons or not. And as a result, I let the battle barge take too many hits. And I turned right into them to let their broadside hit me too. Because all I really need to do with the battle barge was just stall out, give more time for my torpedoes to recharge, and that way I could have continued boarding and crippling them without having to rely on my bombardment cannons as much. So flying away from them would have been better in that case, since it was kind of blocking shots already for my cruisers, so it would have been alright for a little bit longer. Alright, a little bit of chaos for this time around, and I'm wondering if it's a lance-centric fleet with the Acrons or not. Since I am going to have a little bit of difficulty with my strike cruisers being vulnerable to critical hits, especially with lances, and they're going to do a respectable amount of damage to me as well. So I feel like I'm going to be relying very heavily on my battle barge if these are lances. Once I can get close, if I'm able to get close enough, then I could probably do a lot of damage to them. And you are in the wrong group. Do I want extended range? Is the question, because disruption overcharge, it's arguable maybe I was going a little bit too ridiculous on disrupting their holofield against Azeriani, because I had disruption overcharge, which would have permanently kept that down. I had disruption bomb, and I was also going for their generators, so it could be argued maybe my strategy was a little bit flawed just because of how ridiculously redundant that may have been. And even then we almost barely won. If only I had even realized that their torpedoes, which keep in mind also ignore my armor completely, which is why they were so impactful that game. If I had realized they had them equipped and did not fixate on the las cannons, that probably would have been a completely different match for me. Either way. Actually, we'll have the strike cruisers grab the point there, frigates, hopefully... I'm wondering if stasis bomb's not going to do much for me. Plasma bomb could be useful. Micro warp jump has possibilities, but again, I don't think I want my strike cruisers to be isolated, but the frigates could be great. This is the one fleet where I see real possibility for a micro warp jump, since the battle barge is going to be intimidating for my opponent after all. But so can the supercharged void shield. If I can herd them into the corner, then I can do a lot of damage to them. It's a really tricky choice.
Hold course.
So what are we looking at? I want to say that they're battle. Oh, but I forgot about the Kulak's assassin. Okay. So we got 3 Stigs. So we'll be the 4th one here.
Where shall we strike? Hold course.
I do have fighters.
enemy has seized
I'm going to
a
have to keep my
strategic
ships really
area.
close together to help mitigate this some.
Give us purpose.
And I can herd or... Oh, that's also a Stig, or it could be a despoiler. It's going the same speed as the Stig, so...
Ready.
You have
I do
seized
wonder
a
about that
strategic
some. In
area.
all honesty, I should have just gone for his gas cloud here.
To where we are needed.
Can you fault me? The backdrop, the background is kind of making it really difficult to tell. Oh, I'm not even going to make it to the gas cloud in time, am I? Makes it really tricky to tell where the cover actually is without using the mini-map.
At your command.
There.
The enemy has
So we
seized
know
a
what we're up
strategic
against at
area.
least. Now it's just got to pay close attention to mini-maps, so that way I can use it to my
Moving to
advantage.
position.
Because that's going to heavily mitigate their
I'm listening.
firepower.
I am listening.
And I do have a bit of free time, although with them as close to this gas cloud as they are, I don't think I want the battle barge going up there yet.
Show us the enemy. Repositioning.
Okay, so that is a despoiler. They were boosting quite
to position.
significantly is what that tells me.
Where
Alright,
shall we strike?
so they have very little, if no firepower directly. The trick will be
Where
getting
shall we
close
strike?
to them. And with that said, I should go... I really want to switch to brace for impact. But we'll save that for the battle barge for now, since I do have extended range weaponry on it.
Give us purpose.
And those going after my strike cruisers, that's fine.
At your command. I am listening.
I honestly could have just gone to this gas cloud.
At your command.
The tricky part is which one is it going
First
after?
the enemy. Underway.
I don't think it matters. There's enough speed here to kind of deny them even getting after these ships.
Moving to position.
So they're immediately negated.
We stand ready.
I don't think I can stop. Well, oh, I was gonna say, did we actually kill the bombers? That would have been something. And I am gonna get revealed, but they are thoroughly gonna get deflected. I just sadly am. I was thinking about launching fighters, but I don't think that helps me until I can separate the bombers.
Show us the enemy.
Which I think we could do right now, maybe.
Repositioning.
We could kill maybe one bomber squadron, but not much else.
Show us the enemy.
Oh, we didn't have point defense. Maybe we could kill one of their fighter squadrons, which doesn't mean much.
Where shall we strike? Give us purpose. Engines engaged.
And I do have supercharged void shield to easily mitigate a lot of this damage, so...
Hold course.
But sadly, I guess their frigate was behind me because the scanner pulse did not reveal anything.
Where shall we strike?
You have seized a strategic area.
But... we have 3 points. I could take these hits incredibly well. And if I can scanner pulse this, then maybe I could freely scan. You didn't scanner pulse.
Enemy in sight.
So there is no
Moving to
frigate
position.
here.
To where we are needed.
And I can deflect these fighters
Give us
some.
purpose.
Where are the bombers? Okay, no bombers yet.
I am listening.
And scanner pulse should expire in a moment.
Prepare for impact.
I'm just playing with the idea here that I should be able to just brute force these. Okay,
Enemy in sight.
so we know where the frigates are. We can
At your command.
punish the hell out of this battleship right now, but my positioning is a little bit terrible right now.
That is impossible. Hold course.
That may have been a big mistake, but I have to be able to punish this.
Engines engaged. Enemy in sight. Halt advance. Moving to position.
Oh, there's a really bad time to have an engine critical hit, but
Our wrath cannot be denied.
I think we're okay here.
To where we are needed.
Just board the generator. Do not let this thing ever get away.
Repositioning.
Especially since you're not going to use your
At your
call to
command.
arms. That is a bit of a death sentence for this poor thing.
Our wrath cannot be denied. Show us the enemy.
And we still have 3 objectives, so this is going to be nice and simple.
Halt advance.
Then I want to go after the generator, but this works too.
Rearm.
I don't even need to do any more boring damage. Just murder this thing and keep an eye out for
Boarding successful.
the one frigate that prompted this.
Repositioning.
This is really annoying with this invisibility bug though, because again, it's hard to tell where the gas cloud is too as an additional downside,
Our
but
wrath cannot be denied.
I don't really need to do a damn thing. You make this really easy for
Where shall
me.
we strike?
There's going to be no crew left. I know the frigate's around somewhere, so we do need to be mindful that it will get
The enemy
reactivated
has
at some point.
accumulated 25% of strategic points.
Where shall we strike?
Yeah, and the scanner pulse is spotting
At your
nothing.
command.
So I do need to try and kill this thing off.
Saboteurs and technery.
And I still have 3 objectives, so the advantage is mine,
Stand ready.
pretty much. I just want to make sure I'm outside the blast radius, because that's also been bugged to not even show me when that's been activated, to when they self-destruct the ship. So that is pretty much neutered. And my opponent's not doing anything just yet.
I am listening.
Yeah, they just conceded, so that was one major mistake on their part, and sadly, I was not really prepared to take advantage of it, but I'm going to assume they only had a single frigate. And so I just outlasted their long-range fire, especially since they had so little long-range fire with them being all carrier-based too. So I could afford that luxury. It was just really awkward just visually to watch, or at least visually for me, since again, I couldn't tell where the gas clouds were and the visibility bug made it really tricky to even know if I was flying out of said gas cloud without really paying attention to. But that was fairly straightforward, wasn't it? Alright, time for Orcs and... what is it? Dang it, the Goth clan, is it? I want to throw in another word in there because I feel like that's more appropriate, but I think it's just the Goth clan. Because we have Blood Axes, we have Evil Sons. They all are like two different words to their clans, and I almost believe that there's a little bit more to the Goth clan. Or than just the Goth clan, but... either way, this could be fun. It could be. Oh my god. Talk about visual glitches, huh? Now we have holograms of our ships to represent this, so it makes me wonder if this is not a real fight, that it's just a figment of our imaginations. Well, technically that's still true, isn't it? It's all made up. It was all created and made at least real as far as we can digitally. Either way. Enough fooling around, what do we want? Don't need Disruption Bomb because shields on Orcs are not very strong, although Supercharged Void Shield could be pretty good. Now Stasis Bomb. Do I care about Stasis Bomb? There is some real possibilities, but Micro Warp Jump might be more impactful if I do it right. Since they can run me down, Stasis Bomb and Micro Warp Jump kind of do the same thing, is my argument here. If I do it right. Although I do want the Plasma Bomb as well to help damage them. So with that said, I should have one frigate just hang back to help give me the little bit of insurance, and one maybe to flank. I don't know if I'll regret this, because Mega Cannons are a real scare, are a real worry. And I don't have, again, I did not even look at my upgrades. That's a bit of my failing, and probably a consequence of not really playing Battlefleet Gothic at all. Since, really, this is like the only times I play Battlefleet Gothic at this point, unfortunately. I want to play more of it, but there's not a whole lot of incentive currently to do that, is there? So standard carrier. So are these all carrier battleships then? Sadly, I don't have the convenience of... what is it? I don't have the convenience of gas clouds being right in front of me that I can get to quickly. If I didn't hesitate, I probably would have still been able to make it, but I have ways to deal with Orc fighters. There are ways that they can be dealt with. It's just a question if they are all carrier ships, which I did not pay much attention to. Which I'm going to assume no, but they look like they're all battleships, judging by... at least these three are all battleships, judging by their speed. And these three are like cruisers, because the frigates go the same speed as the cruisers anyway. Yeah, I could deal with this. And I'm going to show you how. It's going to be a little bit tricky.
Show us the enemy.
I didn't realize there were assault boats in there, but... because what I want to do was have the torpedoes kind of distract the fighters to give me more time for the point defense, but... let's just mitigate the boarding damage.
Engines engaged.
Because that was definitely 3 squadrons.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
3 carrier battleships, so we can easily deal with the ones on the left. And I can dodge these torpedoes relatively well.
I am listening.
So we're not going to get caught off guard by that again.
Moving to
It
position.
was covered over, sadly, by the fighters, I guess, but
First purpose.
I was specifically looking for 3
Underway.
carrier ships, and all this time I was only seeing the 1. But that's fine. We could deal with this.
Hold course.
We know that's where all their points are invested, so we're going to
Full
strike at the
power
ones
to
on the
engines.
left.
Repositioning.
Just got to pay very close attention to combustion
Show us the
gauge.
enemy. Moving to position.
Now I'm wondering, I want to listen for when their fighters get
Stand
going,
ready.
because they're without a doubt going to get launched again, like right now. Alright, so they are all battleships, that's
Where shall we
fine.
strike? Show us the enemy. Engines engaged. Enemy in sight.
Alright, so they're just light
Give
cruisers,
us
so
purpose.
maybe not as exciting as it could be, but
To where we are needed.
and that should just conceal itself very easily there.
At your command.
Although, I do want to probably grab this objective because I can.
Hold course. Obliterate that target.
And let's see about
Stand ready.
dealing with these light cruisers quickly.
Engines engaged.
Because I am going to definitely need my cruisers to support
Enemy in
this.
sight.
And gotta be mindful of track can, because that's definitely going to happen too.
Underway.
You have seized a strategic area.
Yeah, I had to burn all my combustion gauge, alas, so that's a little unfortunate, but
To where we are needed. Halt! Advance!
let's see if we can hit these things hard. Oh, dang it. The boosting kind of did not work very well there.
Halt! Advance!
Alright. I hope this mitigates a lot of the damage here. It's only one fighter squadron there at the moment, which again, I can sort of deal with.
Repositioning. Full speed. Boarding
And we
core
got good
critical
boarding
damage.
on them.
Rearm. I am listening.
And those are still a lot of fighter ships, so
Moving to position. Boarding caused critical damage.
now can we force that thing to mutiny?
Rearm. That is impossible. For where we are needed.
This is going to be unfortunate, but
Halt! Advance. I am
it didn't hit too hard, but I still want you to mutiny, dang it. You're taking way too long to
Show
mutiny.
us the enemy.
There we go, that's a little better.
Our wrath cannot be denied.
Now, we got 2 mutinies on them.
All power to engines.
Okay, they rallied.
Accumulated 25%
That's kind of okay, we can
strategic
force that to well, we can force it to run a crew at least.
Enemy in sight. Hold course.
And those, unless they're boring torpedoes, should not do a whole lot.
We stand ready. Engines engaged. Full speed.
Those torpedoes were whiffed, sadly.
Halt! Advance.
And I'm not even seeing the track can, which is a bit a shame.
Stand ready. Where we are needed. Initiate Thunderhawk bombardment.
Now, how effective is this?
Into position.
Pretty effective, but
Strike.
I could do more.
Underway.
And I'm messing up on my control quite a bit here.
Underway. Where shall we strike?
Yeah, I'm really messed up on my control, but the flagship's about to die.
I am listening.
Yep, the flagship mutinied, but killing it is probably more important for the morale damage it'll do.
Show us the enemy.
And then that just leaves this one ship, which has its deck prioritized.
Hold course.
You have accumulated
And fire torpedoes, because that's going to draw the fighters away for a time. Because the reason this is important is because the Orc fighters are actually doing hull damage to me for every second they're still present.
Give us purpose.
So they cannot be underestimated, but this angle is not very pleasant either. I don't think I can force that to mutiny because it already lost its deck. And I don't have an easy way to do without fire results to kind of force it to break. But I think we're okay there. It was a little scary at first, because I was wondering if I was doing the engagement properly, since the light cruisers were being very effective at evading me. Now I just need proper torpedo hits in. It's going to be tricky with the fighters. Actually, let me just fire torpedoes just for the sake of it. It's probably what I should have been doing. If it seemed unlikely I was not going to get those torpedoes in time, then I should have just fired them to draw the fighters away to mitigate the damage. So, needless to say, I could have done that better. Because again, torpedoes are great at drawing the fighters away, minimizing the hull damage they could have done. Because those Orc fighters can be scary, but at the same time they're so easy to mitigate and control. Now imagine if I had the 6 cruiser fleet, how long I can force those fighters to do almost nothing. Best case situation, imagine if I somehow force the fighters away from the boarding assault crafts. So that way, I can snipe the assault crafts without having to worry about the fighters screening for them. Never mind torpedoes. Okay, so another rematch with our opponent, but different fleet. So it remains to be seen. We've been seeing nothing but carrier and boarding style type of shenanigans, arguably from this person, from this character. So are we going to see a bunch of Oberons, Emperors, or even just Exorcists for this time around? That's what I'm honestly wondering. If we can kind of deduce what to expect here, although either way, outside their armor-piercing ammo, I should be in really good shape against this fleet. I should be. Now, how to best manage that, because I do have the Colexus Assassin this time, although I do really like the potential of the long range too for the battle barge. For when I'm setting up for potential engagements, especially with the strike cruisers. But they don't have disruption overcharge themselves. So plasma bomb, yeah, supercharged void shield's good here. I really do want the extended range, I'm not gonna lie. The battle barge benefits nicely from it, whereas all the strike cruisers and everything else don't really have the firepower. But the extended range doesn't really do me much good if I don't have disruption overcharge either, because otherwise they could just regenerate their health, and that's not going to do me a lot of good either. Really, what would the range be? So I'd basically be max range on the macro batteries, and the bombardment turrets will basically be able to shoot almost as far as possible. Alright, so that works. And let's see what we're up against. I'm expecting maybe battleships or something carrier base. I'm assuming anyway. And I do have slight mobility advantage against any battleships they use, since I have high energy turn to kind of reposition a little bit better, even though that may not be the most exciting thing due to how slow this thing just turns in general. But it could make the difference if used properly. Now, I hope my opponent did not AFK or anything like that. That would be... Nope, they're here. And I do have Colexus Assassin, so destroying the deck can be pretty good, but I do want to destroy the engines on one of them, so I could swarm it with my strike cruisers when it does eventually happen. I do like destroying engines because in a lot of circumstances it can just as effectively knock them out of the fight, as well as just forcing a mutiny on a ship that loses its deck. But that depends on the matchup. Whereas Space Marines with a battle barge, I'm not going to be able to get away or keep distance from it the best. But without a doubt, something more mobile like the Eldari can definitely benefit from engine critical hits. Never mind how useful that could be to hit them with torpedoes as well. And I was not paying attention for fighters, and with them in that gas cloud, I don't think there's any way I can tell if there's fighters coming now. One downside of the doing the constant commentary, I suppose, but if I play a game enough there, the muscle memory kind of kicks in and it's not really a factor. It's when I'm really not playing a game very much. That's when the commentary can actively hurt me. Because again, I should have been paying attention for possible fighters.
Give us purpose.
So my ships are really flat, so this should not be an issue at all, but I can dodge them really well.
At your command.
I do wonder if there's a way to tell if those are melt or just damaged torpedoes though. Because I know there's visual differences for almost everything else. Boarding torpedoes and regular torpedoes for Space Marines are kind of the obvious example. Never mind the fact one has guidance and the other doesn't.
Hold course. Show us the enemy.
So let's try and reveal them there. Fighters would be nice for dealing with said torpedoes, but worst case I could just recall them. Actually, how aggressively do I want to boost? Because they're flying away from me at the moment. Which makes me kind of regret not... Oh, I didn't give you move orders, did I?
At your command.
So I think, yeah, my fighters are still going to go there, thankfully, but that could have easily not done me any favors.
We stand ready.
And we're just... It forced them into the gas club, but at least we can see what we're up against, so... Interesting. So they have light cruisers hidden somewhere, or a lot of frigates, is what this is telling me.
Halt advance. Underway. Give us purpose.
So the recall on the fighters will actually be decent at shooting down these torpedoes, if they're in range.
Moving to position.
And so what are the other ships, I wonder? Let's go find out, shall we?
Give us purpose.
And I don't know if I marked them or not, because I really want to fire torpedoes at these to keep the boring torpedoes going.
Where shall we strike? Engines engaged.
Alright, so dodge these torpedoes.
We stand ready.
So Nova cannons, that's easy enough to deal with. So those are basically Mars's. Oh, there's 3 of them.
All power to engines.
And I used up all my combustion gauge, but we're out. Your element surprise is ruined, but...
Show us the enemy. Underway.
And they also rammed themselves a bit, but... Sadly, I think I left that thing to get killed.
At your command. Our wrath cannot be denied.
Alright, so melted torpedoes are effective, but... Not too terrifying yet.
Enemy in sight. Boarding caused critical damage.
Now let's just board the hell of these ships, shall we?
I am listening.
Oh, they used up all the combustion gauge, so this is badly timed.
Our wrath cannot be denied. For where we are needed.
So they only have 1 Nova cannon shot left. You, my friend, are very nice to see.
Give us purpose. Engines engaged.
Now we gotta make this stick, though. Because this is a bad angle for me, but... You're gonna miss your ram.
Underway. Where shall we strike?
Actually,
Boarding caused critical damage.
I was really hoping to maybe just
Underway.
hit you with torpedoes, but not gonna happen here.
We stand ready.
In fact, let's have you help me.
Show us the enemy.
You're a mighty generous host because you are hosting a server.
25% of strategic points.
At your command.
And the flagship is crippled.
Marines, calm the machine spirit.
Dang it. I should not have done honor to chat. Or I should not have repaired there, but let's kill you quickly. Although this is a bit rushed and blind. So one of those torpedoes did not connect.
Initiate Thunderhawk bombardment. Give us purpose.
But we could still do absurd amount of boring damage right now.
The enemy has accumulated 25% of strategic points.
And I do have supercharged void shield. I failed to use it in that exchange though.
Where we are needed. Boarding successful. Halt at mark. Show us the enemy.
Can we at least kill this one cruiser there? That would be really nice. The one thing I've been lacking is really good torpedo hits.
Where shall we strike? Redirecting.
Those torpedoes sadly were not very good. Alas, but
Thunderhawks.
we can get some good boarding in.
To where we are needed.
Disruption overcharge is not going to do much here.
We stand ready.
And I was hoping that maybe you had combustion gauge still up.
Hold course.
And just switch the brace for impact. Mitigate the fire results.
Marines begin repairs.
Do what you can.
Engines engaged. Where shall we strike?
And if we can, just kill this one ship as a bonus.
Marines, calm the machine spirits. Moving to position.
You have accumulated
There,
40%
mutiny, mutiny,
of
mutiny.
strategic points.
Now, I do want to hit you, but I don't have any boarding options available. Well, I do now.
Show us the enemy.
And even better, well, it forces a mutiny, but what happened to my boarding results?
Strike quickly, brothers.
That was messy, but it works, I guess. Although I've been robbed, because what I ultimately want most with these torpedoes is to just do the big, massive combo of my 3 strike cruisers just obliterating a single cruiser or battleship. Because those torpedoes, I don't know if you noticed, have no spread to them. They can be amazing if they can at least get an isolated ship. Which can be another important factor on why having the engines get critically hit or damaged is important. Because otherwise, if they're with the rest of their fleet, a simple brace for impact or a handful of fighters can easily shoot said torpedoes down. Does it show the spread? No, it just shows where the weapons are. But these strike cruisers have no spread to them, and that was something I have not been utilizing properly. The sad truth is, if I want to really showcase the power of the strike cruisers,